Hey guys, my name is Amir Towns. I am with Towns Lending. So we offer working capital to small business owners. I do cash advance, lines of credit, term loans, invoice factoring, SBA, SBIC. That's basically private money that's backed by the SBA. That goes up to tens of millions. So if you have like a larger company, I can help you get funding that way as well. So today I'll be going over how to get access to, those larger uh, credit limits on business credit cards. Even if you're a startup, if you start an LLC today, and you decided you want to get in business, it takes about $30,000 to start the average business. To get space, to get licenses, to get going, marketing, and things like that. So you want to start out with some capital. So you can start an LLC today and get funding for that LLC tomorrow if you have the right credit profile set up. I'll go over what that looks like. So getting these high limit approvals, the highest I've seen. So you have like your corporate accounts and things like that, but the highest I've seen on some of these business credit cards, maybe about 200,000 on a U.S. bank account, and maybe about 100 and some change on a Chase. So you can use these to grow a business, to start a
So I wanted to give you
business.
guys an example of someone who's using credit to acquire businesses and grow businesses. So the other day I got this appointment. It was from a connection I have on LinkedIn. He read my newsletter about credit cards, like getting 0% interest on high limit credit cards. And so he made an appointment through my calendar link. And basically, by the time we actually got on the phone, he closed that day on a business that makes $300 to $500,000 a month in revenue. I think they did 4.5 million last year as an e-com business. And so right, four
You can
steps
also
that
get
you
into
need to
real
take to
estate.
become a real estate investor without using any of your own money. First, you want to get yourself an LLC, and make sure you don't use any high risk names like capital or investing in your business name. Also, make sure you're set up as like a property manager or something like that, or a consultant, because real estate is high risk. And then you're gonna make sure your credit is right. So if you have over a 700 credit score, you have at least 3 credit cards with over a $7,500 limit, and you're keeping your utilization, let's say under 10%, then you can personally guarantee and get 0% financing on the business side. So use your LLC, personally guaranteed, 12 months, 0%, and then you have your hard money lender. So in this example, a $200,000 house, your hard money lender is putting up 70%, that's $140,000. You're putting up 60%, pulling them from the credit card. Hopefully you go to Chase first because you can get up to $75,000 with just one credit card from Chase. Like I said, 0%. And then you basically use the Bird method to refinance and get out of the deal, or you flip it.
So the average startup cost for a business, like I said earlier, is between $30,000 and $40,000. According to multiple sources, including Score and US Bank, 82% of businesses fail due to cash flow problems. Poor cash flow management is cited as the primary reason for business failure. So I'm going to show you guys how to get access to 100, 150 to 100 to $150,000 in business credit cards every 90 days. Um, you're going to have to personally guarantee these credit cards, but it's not going to show up on your personal side. It's going to show up on your business side unless you fall behind on the payments, and it'll show up on your personal. Or unless you go for Capital One, then it's always going to show up in your personal. So if you don't want it to show up on your personal side, don't go for Capital One. Don't start off with I'll get into that. Um, so yeah, these are some of the things that you need on your credit profile. This is what you need your credit profile to look like, so that you can get approved for these higher limit business credit cards. So 8 to 10% or less, less is better, of credit utilization per card is not aggregate. 100% on time payment history, zero derogatory marks, 4 years or more of credit history, at least two. Um, 12 account 12 accounts, 12 positive accounts. I don't know why I wrote it like that. 12 positive accounts, ideally 21. Obviously, the stronger your profile, the longer your credit history is, The more accounts you have, the more the mix of credit you have. Like if you have a mortgage, plus a car payment, plus a personal loan, plus credit card, like it just makes your credit profile look that much more juicy and secure because you're used to managing different mixes of credit, and that also strengthens your credit. So you probably closer to the 800s if you have that mix. So 0 to 2 hard inquiries per bureau is ideal. But if you have like a stronger profile, like I said, 21 plus, then you can kind of get around those things. Or if you just went car shopping and they shot you around to 10 different places. I used to be a car, so don't just, I'm not going to get into that. But make sure you're getting a pre approval before you go into there. And then, yeah.
If I had to rebuild my credit profile,
If you need
I
to
would go to
rebuild or if you
DCU.
need to
So that's Digital
strengthen,
Federal Credit Union. I'm going there first. I'm getting the credit builder account. They don't pull credit to get a credit builder account. You can get into the credit union. You become a member for as low as $10 if you go through. I think it was like some school organization. So look out for the school organization. So you get to DCU by going through them, but go through DCU, sign up for the credit builder account. They charge you 5% interest up to, I believe the loan is for 24 months, and you get all of the money that you put into it back once you pay everything off. So to get the credit builder loan is for $500 to $3,000. You're gonna pay about $43 and some change for every $1,000 that you borrow, because like I said, it's going into an account. You never actually get it until everything is paid, which is, like I said, $43 a month. And you build credit, and you also build a relationship with a credit union that offers high limit credit cards. I'm going to meet Ava, getting $2,500 from them. I'm going to Credit Strong. I'm going to Rent Reporters. They're going to backdate rent, a couple years. Then I'm going to go after some secure credit cards that graduate. And the difference is, once you put your money in, so to secure a credit card, you have to put the money up. But once you put your money in, after 6-7 months, you get your money back after making on-time payments and managing your expenses correctly. So I'm going to Discover, I'm going to US Bank, BOA, or Capital One. I'm not going to Credit One or anything like that, because you don't want those secondary banks on your credit profile. And then you don't have to go to all of them. So just grab two, like Discover and US Bank, and also get an account with them, because you need you need multiple accounts. And then once I did that for, let's say, 3 or 4 months, I'm paying all of those for 3 or 4 months. Then I would go and get an authorized user account at an age. So I'm talking about 10 plus years, because you want to 35% of your credit score is actually your payment history. And so you want to adapt some old payment.
so before I get into this, the Me Avas, the Rent Reporters, the Credit Strongs, all of that is cool. But what you really want to do is build relationship with banks that's going to actually be able to give you money. So that means um, having that secure card, having that secured loan, um, those credit builders like at DCU and some of the other credit unions that I haven't mentioned on that video. My asthma is acting up. Excuse me. Um, So, also having these authorized user accounts. If you don't have family that can add you on as an authorized user, so authorized user is basically piggybacking. They'll add you on their card as an authorized user, but never give you the card, and so they don't have to worry about you spending recklessly on a card. An authorized user only works on the personal side, but if you're paying attention to what I said earlier, you have to get your personal side together before getting your business side, because they're gonna. Uh, so piggybacking. If you don't have family, there's sites you can go to out here where you can get um, added on as an authorized user. You pay to get added on as an authorized user. I will add you on to some accounts that we have that have high limits in age. That way, it'll strengthen your profile, and then you go and get your personal funding. Um, It usually say on between 60 and 90 days. If you want Amex added on, it will show up as a new account, so it won't add any age, but it'll show up as a new account, and you'll have that high limit on your profile. And it's Amex, so you can get into their system And then with Amex, if you have a business right now, like when you go through Amex, if you already have a relationship with them, then they don't hard pull you again. Plus, 2 years ago, I think a year or two ago, they bought Cabbage out, which was like business lines of credit. And so go on Google right now, type in Amex business line of credit, and you can get up to $250,000 for your business. As long as you're 6 months in business, you have the credit for it. It's better if you already have the relationship. And so basically, they'll look at your business account, they'll look at your credit profile and get you an offer. It's all approved through AI. And that's why, like, I've been getting a lot of clients that, hey, Amex just told me if I don't pay this down that I'm gonna, yeah. So AI is just watching your thing constantly, so that way they can give you higher limits or decrease limits if you're not using the card and things like that. And so now with AI, they're watching. But so for these authorized user accounts, these are what some of those look like. These are what some. This is something you want if you're going for an authorized user account to strengthen your personal profile. This will lower your utilization. Obviously, you want your utilization to be lower um, per card anyway, but this will also increase age. It'll add more on-time payments to your history. This is not a long-term thing unless it's like family adding it on there. This is for you to get funding, and so you would add these on there and then go and do a personal funding play, but go for your 0% offers. So this goes to product matching. They will consider what is already shown on your personal credit to generate a decision on what you should be approved for on the business side. And so it's called comparable credit as well. Like if you only have $500 limits on your personal side, how am I going to give you 50,000 on your business side? It just wouldn't make sense. And so that's why I say you use the authorized users, add them onto your account for the high limits, and then you go and get your own primary credit card limits that are that high because they're going to product match. And then after paying those, business side. But if you already have high limits on your personal side, then here's how you apply on the business side. So for personal income, estimated business revenue, rent, mortgage payments, and if you're employed. And the thing is, you always want to be employed. Even if you own the business, you're an employee of that business. So whether you're getting a personal loan, a business loan, you're an employee of that business. It's just more secure. They don't want to hear, oh, I'm self employed. You're an employee of the business. Even retirement, if you're retired, you're an employee of the business. Like you just employed just sounds the best to banks. It sounds more secure. Um, so the combination of these figures will play a big role in underwriting. And typically, you'll get 10 to 15% approval on your projected income. So let's say you have a projected income of 600,000 and you want a $50,000 card and you go on a US bank. That may make sense. And with US bank, they'll allow you to double dip. I'll get more into that later. So you want to deal with the relationship manager. So and typically a relationship manager may not even be at the bank. A business relationship manager, they're not at the bank, they're in the field, they have their own clientele, they're going and meeting with business owners and things like that. But you can go in a bank and ask for their card, or like I found all of mine through LinkedIn, and then people reach out to me and things like that. And so that's how I help my clients because I have my own relationship managers. I have a couple at each bank that I deal with, and then with places like Amex, I'll just send you over there. But anyway, so make sure everything matches up and is congruent. What I mean by that is if you register your business as investment company, don't decide now that it's a property management company. When you register it as a property management company, because you're not going to get the funding you want because it's high risk. Investment companies are high risk. They don't. If you got money, why am I giving you money like that? Or if you're using this money to like it, don't put capital in your business name. Don't put investment. Don't put lending. When I made Towns Lending, I didn't know this, and so I have all this the what you're trying to do. I have the scars from actually doing. And so I had to change the name to Towns Advisory Group. I had the DBA and things like that. So actually Towns Advisory Group, but I already had my email, already had websites and things like that. So I DBA Towns Advisory Group. Um, so this is a list of banks with 0% intro rates. I want you to take a look at this. Chase, they have two cards. They'll allow you to double dip, meaning you can get two of those cards. You just got to let them know up front. Two card with your relationship manager. Two cards with one pool. Amex, U.S. Bank, they actually have two cards. They have a 0% for 18 and the 0% for 12. Um, but if you take the 12, it comes with like I think it's cash back or something like that. And then Bank of America, BBVA, Wells Fargo, and then you have Ameris, Univest, Bremer, M&T, Regions, PNC. Take a screenshot of all of this. There's over 694 banks that have 0% offers. And so you're not going to run out. There's that regional bank that you pass every morning going to your office that you don't even think about. They offer 0%. And it's probably a decent bank. So inquiry control. What you want to do is spread your inquiries across each bureau. And so if you send an application to Amex and then you send an application to Truist and you send an application to BOA all at the same time, you technically only got one inquiry because Amex is going to show up on Experian. Amex is going to pull Experian while Truist is pulling Equifax, while BOA is pulling, that's Bank of America. BOA is pulling TransUnion. And so they don't see the other two applications going on. Inquiry control. And so I wanted to go over some examples. So the Bank of America, Alaska Airlines, these are some of these are personal cards. And so they're gonna pull from like the BOA business usually pulls from TransUnion. But if you're looking at personal cards, and when you do look at these personal cards, you can actually get higher limits if you go for their um, travel cards. So travel cards get higher limits, and then later on, like let's say you went for a Chase travel card, and then you also got a Chase 0%. You can combine those cards and say you want it to be that 0% card. That way, you get a higher limit. So this person was in California. They pulled from Experian. This is the date that they applied. They was approved. 708 credit score, 15,000, and they had six settled charge offs, a high utilization, and 12 inquiries. So this is still a solid. Imagine if they didn't have if they didn't have the inquiries on Experian, because you can get these wiped off within like 2 days, especially if it's like car applications, car inquiries, and that's probably what it is because they just go wild, sending your stuff all over. Um, the charge offs, and then 20%. So if he had his utilization under 8%, he would have got a higher approval, and then got some of these inquiries off. He would have gotten more than 15,000. So this is a strong approval, even with all this stuff on here. Apple Card 3,000, 748. Um, I'm not sure if that's like Apple or Apple Credit Union. I think there's Apple Bank as well. But so the Marriott Bonvoy business, the 748, 30,000 on a soft pull because he was already with Amex and they just pulled Experian. He's in Michigan. This was um, in February. BOA, like I said, that's Bank of America, Alaska Airlines, 820 score, instant approval on 18,000. Navy Federal, of course. If you're in the military, you might as well have Navy Federal. I wouldn't have a business account with them, but it's also a good way to get into Amex's system because they usually give you a decent limit. I wouldn't have a business account with them just because they send you through the ringer just to get a business account. Um, and they don't really offer 0%, and that's kind of what I go after, or like heavy rewards. So your Chase Sapphire Preferred, these guys was in Georgia. This is when they applied. 724 credit score, no lates in the past 5 years, zero inquiries. But he had an Amex settlement back in 2019 and still got $22,000. So the cleaner your profile, the easier it is for you to get these high limit approvals. 19,000 with a 796, and that's Amex Blue Cash Preferred. So with Chase has that 524 rule. And so basically with the 524 rule, you have if you apply to or if you open five credit cards within the past 24 months, you will likely not be eligible to open a new Chase credit card. I'm not sure if that applies to the business side though. And then with Amex, so you can apply for two cards, but it has to be one charge card and one credit card. If you decide that you need two credit cards and you have to wait at least, I would say 7 days before applying for that second one. And you can't be approved for more than two within 90 days. So the personal funding sequence, this is, like I said, setting up your personal side first. Your Experian, you can go to a credit union. So you pick you a credit union. I'm going to go with PSECU because they'll give you two accounts with one inquiry. And that's also inquiry control, maximizing your inquiries, maximizing these pools. So you get two accounts, a credit card and a line of credit, a $20,000 line of credit. Chase, Amex. Chase is going to give you two. Like I said, Amex, you can get two. Just wait the 7 days. Citi, they got 0% for, I think, 24 months or something like that. Um, First Tech Federal Credit Union, you can get a credit card and a line of credit, two accounts, one inquiry. And now through Discover in there, you can get 15,000 through Discover. It's just an honorable mention. And so that's like 9 to 10 accounts. It's probably more than that with just five inquiries. And that's just on your Experian. And like I said, there's 694 banks over that offers 0%. Keep that in mind. TransUnion, you got Bank of America. You can apply for two Bank of America cards within the same month or even in the same day. But if you apply for a third within 2 months, or a fourth within 12 months, or a fifth, come on now. Don't apply for more than two. Apple, no hard pull if you don't get approved. Barclays, then you have your Navy Federal Credit Union, but they can also pull Equifax and Tandem. And then you have your Lightstream. So when you're going on these funding plays, this is a personal loan. If you're going on these funding plays and you need money because you want to put it into something that's going to make you money back, um, you have to be creative with getting funding. And so you may throw a personal loan in there. You may throw Lightstream or Best Egg or Upgrade or Upstart or there's plenty of them. Just make sure you can outperform the debt. Make sure the asset can outperform the debt. Equifax. So you have Digital Federal Credit Union. So DCU, um, Solid Bank. I mean, Solid Credit Union. Equifax is usually a lot of your credit unions are going to pull Equifax, and that's why sometimes your Equifax is going to look a lot different than TransUnion and Experian. But credit unions are going to pull Equifax. So DCU, NIH Federal Credit Union, you must be in the medical field. I deal with a lot of people within the medical field. Like my LinkedIn is just medical field, because that's how I started out in the business, just cold calling doctors. Um, so NIH Federal Credit Union, but you can also join the American Consumer Council, and you'll be able to get into most of these credit unions. So PenFed, they'll let anybody in, and you can get two products in one day. They have the Gold Card, it's 0% for 12 months. I think it's 0% for 12 months right now, and you cannot be approved for more than two products in 30 days. And then you have SECU of Maryland, and I think they have three products. But if you want to, let's say if you're not in Maryland, I'm in Georgia, but let's say you're not in Maryland and you want to have a business account, there's a bank that's outside of your state, outside of where you reside, outside of where you do business, that has great offers. What you'll do is you'll set up a foreign entity in that state, and that way you'll be able to apply to SECU of Maryland. You'll be able to apply to banks or credit unions that only deal with businesses within that state or within that region. All you do is set up a foreign entity, and then you go and you'll be able to get that funding. So the American Consumer Council, you can get into a lot of credit unions just by joining the American Consumer Council. A lot of them. So you have it takes 90 days to build an internal score. If you are currently banking with Chase, get funding with them first. Then open up a checking account with two to three other banks that you want to get funding from within the next 90 days. So let's say you get 50,000 from Chase. You want to take 10,000 and start building relationships over here at Bank of America and Amex or whoever. Um, and that's your next funding play. You already set up your experience, and let's say after you get funding, if you've already set up your personal side and you waited and your inquiries fell off and things like that, once you go in for business funding, because it's for the business, you want to get the inquiries removed, because that's it shouldn't show up on your personal side because it's for the business. So you get the inquiries removed, you start building your relationships. It takes 90 days to build an internal score, and so you put money in those accounts. you farming you're putting money in those accounts and building that relationship, and then in 90 days you do the same thing all over again, except with a different bank, and you're getting 50, 60, $70,000. And you also, like I said, you want to make sure you're maximizing your inquiries, because if you're a business that already has 2 3 years in business, start out with a bank that's going to offer you a credit card and a business line of credit, like Wells Fargo. I think you can get up to $100,000 without doing like docs. So there's a no docs. I think Key Bank, PNC, your Huntingtons, things like that. So if you already have 2+ years in business and you already have things in play, US Bank as well, they have lines of credit and equipment loans and things like that. But build your relationships. There is easier for you to get for you to get access to capital when you build a relationship correctly.
Peter was able to borrow $125,000 from his coach so he could acquire Jersey Mike's. It wasn't Jersey Mike's back then, but it became Jersey Mike's with over 3,000 locations after he scaled it for years and years. And early in 2025, he's going to sell it to BlackRock for over $8 billion. I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can get $100,000 to $150,000 and use that money to buy a business. That way you can generate your own income. All right, so $125,000 doesn't hold the same weight as it did back then, but I'm going to show you this coffee shop for $649,000, and I'm going to show you how to get into this coffee shop with no money down, none of your own money down, and it's cash flowing $225,000 a year. All right, so again, they're asking 649 for his cash flows 225. I would offer a 2.5x multiple, simply because it's in the restaurant industry, and yeah, I would just want a better deal. I would ask them to carry 20%, so that's $112,000 for 5 years. That's roughly to 20,000, 22,005. I didn't even count the five in when I was breaking it down. So $450,000 is what we're left with. 10% down would be 50,000 to the SBA, and so they would finance 400,000. Okay, but where would we get the $50,000 from? So you would actually start a restaurant management company, because restaurants are high risk industries. I mean, you could do that. You could set up a company today with like WyomingAgents.com or something like that, or just in your state, wherever you're at. Go to irs.gov, get an EIN, set up an account with Chase, BOA, and Truist. Only pick those three because like Chase pulled from Experian, BOA pulled from TransUnion, and Truist pulls from Equifax, I believe. And so you can actually get 100 to 150,000, 100 to 100 and some change from Chase alone in business credit cards, because they allow you to double dip. But so to get the SBA loan, you're 400,000. They're financing. Let's say it's a 10.75 rate for 10 years. That's 54, 53, 55 a month, which is about $65,000 a year. Your business credit cards at 50,000 you pulled from the 100 to 150 that you got, and then the owner carry 112, which is 1866 or 22 a year if they carry it for 5 years. The total deal 225 minus what you pulled off the credit card, and that credit card is 0% for the first 12 to 18 months. That's why I want you to pay it off within that first year. Pay that completely off. That way is 0%. The 22.4 for that year from the owner carry, and then the $65,000 a year from the SBA. So your first year you're gonna make $87,000, but that very next year you'll be in 137 without making any additional money. You didn't grow the business at all. That's what you made the first and second year. Peter was able to borrow $125,000.
So you can, again, use the money to buy a business, start your business, get into real estate. One cool thing I see is those shipping container homes where they paying like $4,500 for shipping containers, 40-foot shipping containers, stacking them up, buying some land for a couple $1,000 or however much you buy the land for, and then insulating those shipping containers and Airbnb-ing it out. Or if you want to get into Airbnb and then you can rent the property or and then just stage it basically. You can do that. Turo, if you want to rent out cars, you can get a personal loan. You actually just get a personal loan and get those little economy cars, a Ford Fusion, uh, e- I can't think of anything. Impala, whatever it is. Um, that's $7, 8, $9,000. Get a couple of them and put them on there and have that make you money every single month. But if you already have a business, this is who this is really for, because you can grow your company by buying another business. You know, and this is one way to get the money, the 0% business credit cards. But there's also SBA. There's also, like I said, SBIC, getting that private money. There's also leveraging the company that you're buying, leveraging their equipment and getting equipment loans. There's owner finance. You probably have a competitor in your state, in your city, that is looking to retire soon, or a competitor that isn't as business savvy as you, and you can take over their business and implement your systems and grow their company, combine the two companies. Or you could do that a few times and do a roll up. You can do a roll up. If you're planning to sell your business, I would advise you to do a roll up first. Buy a few that way you can build the business up and make it more attractive to private equity, because it's going to be I think it's easier to sell a business that's doing multiple millions than it is to sell a business that's doing um, 100, 200,000 in seller discretionary earnings, SDE. Or it's easier to sell a business that's profiting more than it is to, because then they know you've built out systems. They know you put people in place to help you grow the company. And so it's easier to sell those bigger companies because of that reason. A private equity isn't going to want to take on a job. No disrespect. Then you have 40 years in this company. They're not going to want to take on your role. And so what you can do is, because you have the 40 years and you have you have the reputation within the community, go out. If you don't have the credit, fix your credit. Um, leverage your assets like your real estate or your equipment or whatever it is that you have paid off. Get loans and start buying companies to form a bigger company. And that way, when you do exit, you can get some real cash for the 40 years of work that you put into this business. Um, I don't know why I spelled blueprint like that, but that's the way it is. Um, it's not like that on Amazon. So if you put business funding blueprint um, on Amazon, you can find my book. But if you watch this whole thing, or any of it, I guess, you should already have the digital copy in your email. So check your email for that. Um, my email is info@townslending.com, but I'm not sure how I have my system set up. It may be under amir.funding@gmail.com. I need to change that, but I just had that email from back in 2018 when I started this whole thing, when I was just cold calling doctors. When I started out, I didn't have an email, I didn't have a website, I didn't have a phone number. I didn't even register the business for like the first 8 months to a year I was doing this. I was just cold calling doctors like, hey, do you need funding? Because I knew that if I had a doctor's appointment today, and let's say whatever insurance you're on, if you have a doctor's appointment and they're taking insurance, then it takes 30 to 45 days um, for them to get paid on that bill. And so it creates a cash flow gap. And so I would cold call doctors, hey, do you need funding? This is what I offer. Cash advance, lines of credit term. Like I just, you know, and that's how I started this business. And the reason I got into this is because I failed so many times personally. I messed my own credit up 2 times, 2 to 3 times, and fixed it. And like, or if you before you start adding the good stuff on your credit, if this is you and you're not in this place right now, before you start adding on these different trade lines and things like that, fix your credit first. You can go to, I think it's called Dispute Beast. Dispute Beast is like an AI platform, and it's disputing your discrepancies on your credit. It's gonna send out the letters as well, and I think it's like $40 a month. So I have the scars from doing the things that you're trying to do. It's not theories. I already have the scars from being the person that you want to be as far as getting funding, and that's why I started this business, to help other small business owners get access to capital. um, I think that's all I got. Yeah, check out my website, townslending.com. If you want to work with me, or if you need any authorized user accounts, I offer, like I showed you in the beginning, high limit, aged, authorized user accounts. They're expensive because they are aged and they're high limit. So it's going to be, I recommend you do about two, and so that's going to be $2,000. It's upfront. And then as far as helping you get business credit cards, because I showed you the personal run, I showed you how to get it on your personal side, your TransUnion, your Equifax. I showed you the personal side. If you want to go on the business side, use those same banks that you have personal relationships with. Maybe not the credit unions, because sometimes the credit unions don't offer business, um, but use those same ones So you use Chase, you use Amex, BOA, US Bank, and I gave you the list of banks that offer. And so there's over 694 banks that offer 0% business credit cards. Use these same ones and apply the same way that I told you to apply. Making sure everything is congruent, making sure everything matches up, making sure you don't make a mistake on your EIN number and social, and you're going based off of projected income. Most of the time, they go off. Chase goes off of projected income. Even if you start a business today and you need fund, you're trying to get funding tomorrow, they're basing it off of projected income. I think I can make, if I had the right fund amount of funding, I can make $500,000 in my first year. I can make $200,000. All right, we'll give you a $20,000 card, a $10,000 card, and that's how you get those high limit approvals. If you don't have the time to get these approvals yourself, to we can use my relationship managers. I do charge a success fee. Uh, Schedule a call with me. And I also offer cash advances. If you need money quick, it's higher in interest. It's higher in interest. If you need money quick or you don't have the best credit, but you have cash flow, these are the three ways you get funding: cash flow, credit, collateral. If you got collateral but you don't have any, I can help you. If you got cash flow, I can help you. If you have the credit, I can help you. Give me a call. Send me an email. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about the book. It's gonna be in your email. Check that out. Let me know.